Yo, what is good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jack, and this right here is the place where we have the conversations that everybody's thinking about, but nobody's brave enough to actually say. And today, we are going into some deep, uncomfortable, eye-opening territory. Because we are talking about something that is happening right now, all across social media, all across TikTok, all across the dating world. Older women are waking up, slowly, painfully, and sometimes way too late. They are realizing that the spotlight they had in their 20s, gone. The attention they took for granted in their prime, vanished. The options they turned down because they thought better ones were coming, they're not coming back. And the wild part? A lot of these women genuinely did not see it coming. They thought the world would just keep showing up for them. And today, we're gonna watch that moment, that specific painful moment, when reality finally kicks the door in and sits down at the table. Before we get into it though, hit that subscribe button right now. Seriously, one click, it's free, and I drop content like this every single week. We are building something real on this channel, and you do not want to be the person who finds this video 6 months late. All right, lights down, curtain up. Let's get into it. So the first thing I want you to notice, and this is important, is how these women are talking. Not just what they're saying, but the tone, the body language, the energy. Because there's this woman, 43 years old, single mom of 2 boys working full-time, and she hops on TikTok on a random weekend. No makeup, t-shirt and shorts, lines and wrinkles showing. And she's like, this is what a real 43-year-old looks like. Anybody else? And okay, first of all, I actually respect the honesty. That's a real woman living a real life, and she's not pretending. But then she turns around and asks why she feels bad comparing herself to women with ring lights and 3 filters on. And that is the first crack we're going to talk about today. Because she knows those women aren't being real. She knows it's smoke and mirrors, but she still feels the pressure. She still feels like she's falling behind some invisible standard. And that feeling, that I used to be her and now I'm this feeling, that is the thread that runs through every single clip we're about to watch today. And it is devastating every single time. Now let's talk about dating. Because if you really want to understand what's happening with women in their 40s right now, you have to look at what the dating market is actually telling them. And the dating market? It is being brutally honest. There's a woman in this compilation who literally just got back from a date, and she is done. She gets on camera and goes, "Y'all, if you are in a relationship, do not leave. There is nothing out there. This is a warning." And bro, she is not being dramatic. She is not playing for the camera. She looks genuinely shell-shocked, like she just came back from a war she did not sign up to fight. And the thing is, she's not wrong about the dating market being hard. She's just wrong about why it's hard for her specifically. Because the dating market didn't change overnight. It shifted slowly, quietly, over the course of a decade while she was doing other things. And now she's standing at a party that's already half over, wondering why all the good seats are taken. And this next part, this is where it gets real uncomfortable, fam. Because we've got a woman, educated, well-spoken, probably attractive in her day, and she casually, almost proudly admits that her body count is somewhere above 30, maybe even 40. And then she laughs and goes, "But it's just a number, you know." You do the math, twice a month, 5 or 6 years, it adds up. And listen, I am not here to drag anyone for their past. That is not what this channel is about. But here's the part that I cannot let slide. She then says, in the very same breath, that she would go back and erase 80% of those experiences. 80%. She said it wasn't worth the energy, wasn't worth the health risk, wasn't worth the emotional cost. And she's sitting there now wondering why building something deep and lasting feels so impossible. And I'm sitting here watching her have this realization in real time and thinking, she already knows the answer. She just doesn't want to say it out loud. Because saying it out loud means accepting that the choices she made led her exactly to where she is. And that is a hard pill to swallow when you spent years telling yourself you were just living your best life. Let's take a quick breath here. Because if you're watching this and you're getting something out of it, if this is making you think, making you reflect, making you see something you hadn't seen before, subscribe to this channel right now. I am dead serious. Hit that button. Because this is what we do here. We don't sugarcoat. We don't pander. We don't tell people what they want to hear just to get clicks. We tell the truth. And the truth is rare on the internet right now, so if you found this channel, hold on to it, subscribe, and drop a comment while you're at it. I read every single one. Now, back to it. So there's this woman, 44 years old, and she opens her video by saying, "I used to make fun of women who said they couldn't find a man in their 40s. She laughed at them, called it impossible, said they just weren't trying hard enough. Her 30-year-old self thought those women were just making excuses, and now she's 44, clearing her throat, on TikTok, saying the exact same things those women said, and she's trying to frame it in this empowered way, like, men can't handle a confident woman who knows what she wants. And sure, maybe there's some truth buried in there, but let's be honest about what else is in there, because the woman who is actually confident, the woman who built her confidence through discipline and self-awareness and genuine growth, she is not struggling to find a partner. The woman who is confident because she spent 20 years doing whatever she wanted and now refuses to compromise on anything, that's not confidence. That's just stubbornness wearing a blazer. And men, good men, high-value men, they can tell the difference immediately. Now I want to stop for a second and talk about the woman who broke my heart a little bit. Because there's a 45-year-old in this compilation who describes herself as going from superwoman to the invisible woman. And the way she describes it, working, raising kids, cooking dinner, running the household, going go for years. And then one day waking up and realizing nobody sees her anymore. She said, "I could literally walk anywhere and nobody even knows who I am." And she laughed when she said it. She laughed. But I watched her face when she laughed, and that laugh had nothing funny in it. Because what she's describing is one of the most common and most quietly devastating experiences that women go through in middle age, the moment when the world stops turning in your direction. And I'm not saying that to be cruel, I'm saying it because it's real. She gave everything she had to everyone around her, and then looked up one day and realized she'd given herself away too, and nobody was coming to give it back. And this is where the script flips. There's a 44-year-old woman who says something that I actually think is profound underneath all the frustration. She says she used to want to be invisible to men. Back in her 30s, she used to dream of the day when men would just leave her alone. And now? Now she's 44, married, a grandmother, and she says men are still not leaving her alone. But the attention has completely changed. Now it's men in their 60s and 70s showing up in her comments, making sure she knows she's undesirable to them. And she says, and this really got me, it's not enough to actually be undesirable. They have to tell me. And bro, that's a whole other conversation about how some men carry themselves. Because there is absolutely zero reason to go out of your way to make a woman feel worthless. That is not strength. That is not alpha. That is just insecurity wearing a mask. And I want to be clear. This channel does not celebrate cruelty. We deal in truth. And the truth is, you can be honest without being vicious. But here's where I bring it all the way home. Because the through line in all of these clips, every single woman, every single story, is the same thing underneath. It is the cost of delayed decisions. The woman who spent her 20s prioritizing everything except building the life she actually wanted. The woman who thought the options would always be there. The woman who turned down the steady guy because she wasn't ready, who left the good relationship because she wanted to experience more, who put off the family conversation because career came first. And now she's 40-something, making TikToks at midnight, asking where all the good men went. And the good men? They're out there. They did not disappear. They're just not waiting anymore. Because they stopped waiting around the same time they realized nobody was waiting for them either. There's one more woman I want to talk about before I wrap this up, because she said something that I think is the most honest thing in this entire compilation. She's been single for 13 years since her divorce at 30. And she's sitting there watching The Golden Bachelor on TV, which she calls cheesy as all heck. And she just quietly says, "I just want someone to plan something incredible for me. That's it. That's all. Not a mansion, not a millionaire, just someone who shows up and plans something." And I sat with that for a minute because underneath all of the independence posts and the "I don't need a man" energy that floods social media, underneath all of that, there are millions of women who just want to feel chosen, who just want someone to put in the effort, who just want to feel like they matter to somebody specific. And that is not weakness. That is not a character flaw. That is just being human. But here is what nobody told her, and what nobody is telling a lot of these women, is that the person who chooses you is often shaped by who you were when you were buildable. And if you spent those years making yourself unavailable, unattached, and independent to a fault, you might have accidentally trained the world to treat you exactly that way. So where does this leave us? Here's what I think, and I want you to tell me if you agree. The wall, and I know that's a charged word, but the wall is not about looks fading. It is about options narrowing. It is about the market adjusting. It is about the gap between what you offer and what you're asking for getting wider every single year you wait. And the women who understand that early, who invest in themselves genuinely, who build real character, who choose wisely and love deliberately, those women are not making these TikToks. They're living the life that these women are scrolling past at 2 a.m. wondering what went wrong. That's the real story. That's the thing nobody wants to say but everybody needs to hear. If you made it to the end of this video, you are locked in, and I respect that. This was a long one, a real one, and if it made you think even a little bit, then it did its job. Drop a comment below. I want to know, do you think it's too late for women in their 40s to turn it around? Or is mindset the only thing that actually matters? Let me know. Like this video if the truth hit different today. Subscribe if you're not already. I cannot stress that enough. And go watch another video on the channel right after this one, because that genuinely helps the algorithm push this content to the people who need to see it. We are building something real here, fam. Don't sleep on it. Until next time, stay sharp, stay grounded, stay intentional. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.